Okay, so hi Anay. Could you just introduce yourself?
My name is Anay Kanyakar and I've been studying BMM. I'm in the last year right now.
Okay, and can you just tell us why you are here?
I am here because I have been to a rehab. I've been an addict. I've been an alcoholic. I've been using drugs and done a lot of shit. But now I've been sober for quite some time, 1.5 years to be precise. But that still doesn't change the fact that I am an addict because addiction is mostly internal stuff that happens to you. Externally, it's just a getaway, but internally is what really matters, and I have been an addict for all this while.
And could you tell how you came into all this? How were you introduced to your
Just like
addiction?
every other person, just like every other person who smokes ups and drinks, I want to have fun, let's just try and do it. That's the whole thing. Everybody has the same idea. Let's have a sip, let's just try it, we are partying right now, so let's just कीड़ा रहता है जनरली बोलने का तो कीड़ा रहता है मन में कि मतलब क्या चीज़ है ये करके देखते कर लेते उसके बाद you tend to fall in place and then you just keep up with that for a lot of time and then you're just there. You never get out of there.
So, were there any moments, where you felt like, yeah, this is the life I want to live? Because I believe back then, while you were an addict, you actually felt good about it in some
Yeah,
way.
obviously. There was a life that I wanted to live. There are times even today where I want and I think that, I should still go back to the same shit and I should just stay there. Because when you are there, nothing really matters, Nothing in your life really matters except for your own self. No problems, no family problems, no fights, no arguments, no girlfriends, nothing. You can solve every shit you can, but it just doesn't take you anywhere. It's what you think, but it's not actually true.
So if you could just tell one of your incidents where you actually like really had fun and you were like, yes, this is how everyone should be. Like there'll be less problems, there'll be more fun, more partying.
Okay. The whole phase was like that. For every single day that I used to use or abuse substances, every day I used to think of the same thing. Like I wish life stays like this. I wish the people who are with me stay like this and we just keep partying forever. But it's difficult to actually come up with one incident, Mm. So there have been times, okay. So there was this time when we were partying at Gorai Beach, okay, and a lot of alcohol, a lot of smoke, a lot of everything, okay, and so I'm sure you must have heard of a drug called meth. We used to use that too.
Yes.
So we had a lot of grams of it too, and we were just cutting and cutting and cutting, and for like just 2 days time we are still there. We're not wanting to leave. Okay, but that day when that thing came to an end, all of what we had came to an end, is when I realized that oh, like it was like a setback for me. It was like I wish this never came to an end, and that is when I knew. When I came back home, I had a bath. I called a peddler and I asked for more meth, and still the same 2 days continued. It was like a half an hour's break where I just go home, show my face, have a bath, and get back to that. And that phase was actually where I just wanted everyone to party, not just me but everyone whom I knew. There have been a lot of times when I've actually made people do it. People who don't even smoke a cigarette are cutting meth with me. I can't help it.
And any of these times, where you actually thought you could fall in trouble for this, but then you just went
I
along
never
with
thought
that?
I would fall in trouble for this. I have always been pretty confident about the fact that I can manage this shit out. You know, until the day I got admitted in the rehab, I always felt that I've been pretty good with it because so there are these feelings. Okay, drugs, alcohol, they alter your emotions, they alter your confidence, they alter your feelings, they alter everything within you. Okay, and you just tend to think that you're the king of the world. Okay, and you tend to believe that people also think of the same thing, but you forget the point where people just nod their heads and agree to the fact that if you think that is what it is, let it be. When the time comes, you'll know. And that is what happened with me.
but you know, alcohol and drugs have been out there for a long time.
Yeah.
And not everyone has addiction problems.
Yeah.
Like for example, a lot of performers they just go take a couple shots before their performance.
Yeah.
You know, team player. So
But that very point where he needs to take those shots for the performance is what proves that he has a problem within him. Like if he was normal, if he would manage it by himself, he wouldn't need it in the very first place. But for that confidence boost, but for I am the king of the world feeling is why he takes those shots, and which proves that there is a problem. But yes, that is true that there are very few people who actually fall into this. Or rather, very few who are actually seen like an addict, or who are helped, or who realize the fact that they are an addict. But like you could say like 20% of the actual drinking population is an addict. Okay, a known addict. The rest of them are unknown. But there are social drinkers. But I don't know how it works for an addict. But there are people who tend to get into this very heavily. And I don't really have an explanation to that.
okay, so are there any stories about your friends or something like that? You know, people you have known, people you have had fun with, and some stories which made you think like, am I on the wrong path?
No, never. I never felt that I was on the wrong path. Okay, and no one, nobody felt that they were on the wrong path. Okay, that can never happen when you're into it. So there are a lot of incidents though. So we had been to Goa, and this friend of mine, okay, we had done a drug. Okay, I wouldn't take the name, but then we had done something. So this guy, okay, so initially he was really awkward to dance because he is not really a person who dances. But later on, I try and make him understand that see, everyone is doing the same thing. They have done the same substance and they are dancing. So fuck this shit and just dance. So he gets up and he starts dancing. It's been half an hour he's dancing. It's been an hour he's dancing. It's been 2 hours he's dancing. And now even he is tired that he's been dancing. So he goes and lies down on the bed. Okay, the music is still on, and he still wants to dance. So he bangs both his hands and both his legs first. Okay, on the bed. Okay, like this. Okay, he's just going on. After a while, probably his legs hurt, so he stopped the leg, and both his hands are still banging. Then probably one of his hand hurts, so he stops that hand, and then only one hand is banging. Okay, so then later on, after again a while, like probably his hand hurts too. So it stops that hand, but there is still a finger that is moving, and then you know that dude, he is on something and he doesn't want to stop, okay? And that's fun to look at, because you are in the same thing all together and you are experiencing the same thing. So something like that. And there have been so many parties where, okay, so one more incident where a friend of mine had gone out, okay, and he was in the casino and he played blackjack and everything, and he got done, and then he started drinking with these foreigners, okay, and he was drinking for quite a while, but then there was this phase where he was blacked out, and just like he gets up the next morning and he finds himself on a footpath. Okay, for us it would probably be like, for a normal sober person it would be something where you're like, oh fuck, he's on the footpath. No dude, I am on a footpath, that reaction. So it's pretty much like that. So we had been to Goa, and Goa is actually like the party destination for India, like the place that I have been to. तो फिर क्या है गोवा, अपने पास एक्टिवा है, दारू है, सब है, अंदर पहले से बहुत कुछ पड़ा हुआ है बॉडी के अंदर, तो फिर क्या घूमो. So पूरा गोवा, okay, like every night I was there for like a week's time, okay. Out of this week, only 2 days is when I had slept, like 2 nights were the only nights that I slept. उसके बाकी का 5 दिन, बाकी का 5 रात में पूरा जगा हुआ था, ठीक है. इधर से उधर एक्टिवा पे घूम रहे और हाथ में दारू है, दारू पीते पीते घूम रहे, कोई टेंशन नहीं, पांडु लोग भी कुछ नहीं, कोई टेंशन ही नहीं है, ठीक है. इधर जाके रेव पार्टी, उधर जाके रेव पार्टी, इधर उधर सब जगह पार्टी है, मतलब ऐसा कुछ नहीं बचा रहेगा जो हम लोग ने वो एक हफ्ते में कुछ बचा रहेगा कि I chilled with a Russian dude, I smoked hash with her, it was fun. She told me my Russian sun sign or whatever sign they have, okay, like it was fun. My friend was like searching for me for an hour or two, where is Anay, and I'm just like chilling with her in her room, just chilling and smoking up, nothing more. But that being the point that he's everywhere searching for me. और फिर 1-1.5 घंटे बाद आता है, ऐसा दरवाजा खोल के वो रशियन को ही पूछना चाहता है कि मतलब अनय को देखे, like you saw that bearded guy or what? But then he sees me. And she obviously doesn't understand Hindi, so he's like, yeah, oh, माँ बहन सब निकाल लिए, बोले तेरे को 2 घंटे से ढूंढ रहा हूँ, तू किधर है? तेरे साथ में ये काट दिया है, वो काट दिया, मेरे को टाइम पास नहीं था, ये था. So that was fun. That was a lot of fun. Then there have been so many incidences where we have smoked weed in a lot of different ways. You know, like there is this thing called bucket bomb, where you cut the bottle and then like the bottle is this big. You put a shoot like a chillam or a shooter above it. You submerge it in the water and then you. It's fun, okay? Like तुमको मतलब तुम देख के तुम्हारी फट जाएगी बोले इतने धुआं अंदर कैसे डाले, ठीक है? उसके लिए धक्का देना पड़ता है कि भाई ये अंदर जाके धुआं तुम ले पाओ. So a lot of crazy stuff that has been done. रात को तो कभी घर पे आने का सीन नहीं था और आए तो भी सब सोने के बाद बाहर जाने वाला सीन था. तो वैसा बहुत पार्टी की है यार. कितना कुछ बताया, अभी रात दिन कम पड़ जाएगा अपने को. So just like all these party incidences, there was this one time where, you know, we were partying, we had a lot of alcohol, okay, just 4 of us और बहुत सारा दारू पी लिए, रात को 4 बजे घूम रहे और उसमें से एक को हम लोग का दोस्त को पांडे उठा के लेके गए, ठीक है, and we don't know shit about it. एक रैंडम बंदा आके बोलता है भाई तुम्हारे साथ एक बंदा था, उसको पांडे उठा के लेके गए, and we're still in the same zone, you know, chilling and making fun. तो हम लोग गए, मैं कॉप के पास गया, अंदर पुलिस स्टेशन में 3 स्टार से बात कर रहा है, ठीक है, and I'm arguing with him that you know let him go, we're just going home and shit and this and that. So he's like, तू इतने रात को दारू पी के किधर घूम रहा है? And I'm like, don't you know where we get alcohol at this hour? And he's irritated with me because I've been arguing with him. तो वो मेरे को बोल रहे बोले चल दो तुमको भी अंदर डाल देंगे ऐसा वैसा. But then it didn't make a difference back then because I was too drunk. So I tried getting my friend out from there as well. We walked outside till the main gate of the station, okay? But then we turned back. I asked him, okay, do you want to run away or do you want to stay? So he's like, no, we'll just stay and see what happens. So I turn back, I come back to the police station and one cop comes running and he slaps him, okay? And I push him away. But even when I push him away, I'm laughing my balls off because I see this guy slapped, okay? And I'm arguing with him, I'm laughing but I'm arguing कि काय के लिए हाथ उठाया तुम इस पे, मतलब वैसा. तो he's like, he's just ignoring me. He put his hand on his collar. मैं वापस उसका हाथ हटाया और मैं उसको बोल रहा है हाथ मत लगाओ, आ रहे अंदर हम लोग करके. तो अभी ये बंदा हंस रहा है क्योंकि मैं आर्ग्यू कर रहा है, ठीक है. तो फिर जब भी मैं हाथ झटका तो दूसरा कॉप आया, he brings his bamboo and shit and he starts hitting him, okay, like not me, him. तो फिर मैं रुकाने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ, इतने में मेरे को भी 1-2 पड़ गई है. चलो ठीक है, हम लोग अंदर गए, जेल में जाके खड़ा हो गया. क्या करेगा, लोग छोड़ देगा थोड़ी देर बाद. मैं अंदर रह के अंदर वालों से बात कर रहा है, ठीक है. There are a lot of more people who are inside, okay. कोई रिक्शा वाले को मार के आया है, कोई ये चोरी करके आया है, कोई ये करके आया है. And I'm just having a conversation with them, too chilled out, and you know, abusing the cops कि मतलब क्या तुम लोग पैसे के लिए पकड़ा है हम लोग को और ऐसा वैसा. But there comes a turning point for me at that moment, okay. Then he is like, you know, I need to, like, what do you think of yourself? तू क्या है? तेरे बाप को फोन लगाओ. और मैं like I'm drunk as fuck. I'm like लगाना, and I give him the number, dude. Okay, he calls my dad at 4:30 a.m. Okay, I am drunk. I still can't figure out the fact that you know he's actually gonna call him up, but he calls him up, and my dad is in the police station at 5 a.m. and he sees me behind those bars, and that feeling of and that those expressions on his face, okay. That is where that turning point came and where I realized the fact that you know, oh fuck, you know, but it was still not in a way where I think that you know, oh fuck, I've been doing so many, like I've not been doing anything, I was just screwing up. ऐसा कुछ feeling नहीं था. सिर्फ feeling ये था कि भाई तेरा बाप पुलिस स्टेशन में खड़ा है, तू क्या करके बैठा है, ठीक है. ऐसा हो गया. जैसे जैसे दारू उतरी वैसे वैसे होश आया, वैसे वैसे मालूम पड़ा बहुत हरकत कर दी है, बाप खड़ा है सामने क्या करने का. But then later on it was all still better, okay. मैं कोशिश किया that I don't screw up on the whole thing again, but there was this phase, okay, where it all came to an end for me, is when I realized that, you know, I was doing meth for a very long time, okay, and मैं जिसके साथ बैठा था मैथ करने को, ठीक है, उसको हम लोग गाली, मैं खुद उसको गाली डालता था कि भाई तू ये चीज क्यों कर रहे हैं अपन लोग, ठीक है, इट्स लाइक चीप शिट, it's not even like a proper high, it doesn't give you anything, I've done better drugs, we have done better drugs, why are we doing this shit? And I still used to snort that line, okay, and that was the point where I realized that, dude, you're helpless, you're fucked, okay, you're screwed, you need something to get out of this, all of this, okay, not just meth or not just alcohol, but all of it all together. So talking about that, okay, after that is when I started realizing, okay, that day, that incident, I still have that trip in my head where I realized that, dude, you're fucked for life, okay, and I remember for those few minutes or few minutes, I was just thinking about all of my life, okay, all of it for about 6 years, 5 years down the line, I was just thinking about it. And I realized that I haven't done anything with my life. Anything. All I've done is spend my dad's money, party, screw myself up. My weight was 65, I brought it down to 56 in like 3 months time while I was doing math. उसके पहले का तो भूल जाओ. ठीक है? I've stole my granny's money from her purse. ओके सो मेरा बहन को उसका बर्थडे पे 18,000 गिफ्ट मिला था, ठीक है, वो 18,000 में से 10,000 तो मैं खा लिया रहेगा, ठीक है, शी डजंट नो, आई डोंट नो, आई जस्ट, यू नो, दूसरे भाई पे नाम आ रहा है कि भाई तूने किया क्या, आई एम सिटिंग राइट देयर बट आई एम सच एन एसहोल दैट आई डोंट स्पीक आउट एंड से दैट आई हैव टेकन इट, ओके, मैं सोना चोरी किया है, उसको बेचा है, उसके साथ बहुत कुछ, उसके बाद बहुत कुछ किया है, बहुत सारे लोग से पैसा लिया है जो कभी वापस नहीं दिया है, and so many more things, man. I've seen my granny suffer, I've seen my mom suffer, I've seen my dad suffer, I've seen my aunt, my family, all of them suffer like hell, you know, like they couldn't see me with a proper, they couldn't even have a proper eye contact with me, okay, like the whole family, okay, like here is your family where you have 10 people, out of those 10 children, okay, 10 children, out of those 10 children, your family, your elders would want good for all of them, okay, but that one person whom you love the most, okay, I've got love from every side of my life, every person of my life, and when you don't get, like, when they are disappointed, even after loving you so much, is when you realize that, you know, you haven't done anything out of your life, you have just bring down, like, let them down, put their expectations down, haven't done anything. I failed my 12th. I had to repeat the whole year because I got admitted to a rehab. Can you imagine the irony? My mom, my dad, none of them knew that I used to do drugs. They got me in the rehab because they thought that I was a chronic alcoholic. Until I spoke myself out to the psychologist there, after a week is when they knew, they realized that, you know, I was doing all of it, you know, that. But it doesn't take you anywhere, you know. There are a lot of people who are going to tell you that, you know, just smoke a joint, तेरे को जन्नत पहुंचा देगा, just smoke a puff from that hash joint and then you will feel this, दारू पी ले सब स्ट्रेस दूर होएगा. दारू पीने से स्ट्रेस दूर नहीं होता है, ठीक है, स्ट्रेस रहेगा ना और कुछ रहेगा ना अंदर, तो दारू पीने के ना रोएगा तू, तेरे को और याद आएगा वो चीज और तेरी और गांड लगेगी, ठीक है, वो हिसाब है. गांजा फूकने से ना तेरे को थोड़ा टाइम के लिए टेम्परेरी लगेगा कि तू सही है, ठीक है, बट जब भी वो चीज उतरेगी ना तभी तू वही सोच लेगा, वही चीज में घुसेगा और वापस फूकेगा, ताकि तेरे को वो फीलिंग में रहने का नहीं है. Addiction is something that we addicts do because we can't face the reality while being sober. Okay, all the problems in our lives, all the traumas that we've had, nobody has a good life, nobody has a satisfactory life, nobody has everything in his life, okay, but we are the people who want to get away from that feeling of not having everything, is why we do this and try and get out of it or try and stay in a comfort zone. So they didn't, like I said, they didn't know that I was a drug addict too. They just thought that I was an alcoholic. So they put me in the rehab and they fooled me into it. Okay, मतलब like the incident was like आज रात को मैं बहुत सारा काटा है, दूसरे दिन सुबह घर पे पहुंचा है, नहाया है और सोया है, शाम को मेरा आंटी आया है घर पे और वो बोलता है अपने को अनाथ आश्रम जाने का है. The very first thought, I still remember that thought, okay, the very first thought was आज तक कोई अच्छा काम किया नहीं है भाई, तू आज चल देना इज्जत से अनाथ आश्रम जाके जो भी अच्छा काम करना है कर देना. And I actually got up, I got ready and I went all the way till there. I couldn't figure out until the time, till the time I was in, I didn't realize where I was. After I got in is when the psychiatrist there asked me that, so do you know where you are? And that is when it clicked. And that is when I realized that, okay, I'm gone for a very long time. So they asked me to have a look inside, okay, कि क्या है कैसा है, while they had a talk with my family about the whole thing. तो मैं अंदर जाके देख रहा है, I had a look and then there was this guy, a staff member who asked me to sit down. I was like, no, I'm just here to have a look. They're gonna take me back home because they're trying to scare me and try and make me. And I had this all planned out in my head that आज के बाद कुछ नहीं करेगा, भाई रियाब देख लिए, आज भी जमा नहीं कर रहे नसीब समझ, ऐसा मैं सोच रहा हूँ, ठीक है? When I'm done, 10 मिनट बाद जब मैंने पूरा देख लिया है, वापस अंदर गया हूँ, मैं कैबिन में खड़ा हुआ, मेरे हाथ में सीधा बैग थमा दिया और बोला तू जमा है, ठीक है? और उस टाइम पे like it all came crashing down. It was all like what the fuck, like. But मेरे में तभी भी इतना कीड़ा कि मैं मेरे घर वालों को बोल रहा हूँ that जब तक मेरे को लेने को आता नहीं तब तक आना मत वापस इधर. That was my last sentence to them. Only my mom and my aunt. Okay, my dad did not even know that I was going to put in the rehab. Neither did my granny. No one, just them, both of them. And my brother था मेरा भाई था अमन करके. So those scenes. So after that, as time passed, okay, for the first 2 days it was like hell. It was like all very weird people, okay. Like अपन नशा करता था, but वो भी थोड़ा public ऐसा like known people and those kind of people. But उधर जाके देखेंगे तो dude, all kinds of people, all kinds of drug abuse, all kinds of alcoholics, सब एक जगह पे भर दिए, ठीक है. So first few days were like that. कि मतलब किधर डाल दिए और क्या, all the whole regret thing, the whole guilt trip, everything was happening to me. But later on when I had a conversation with the psychologist is when I realized that this is one chance that I get to like clean my slate, okay, like clean everything of it. And the very fact that my family did not know that I was a drug addict, I had the choice to actually come out and tell them about it and sub clean kar do and just accept and try and get over it. So that is what I did. I just told them about everything, everything that I've done, the money that I stole, and the substances that I've abused, the people I had chilled with, for how much time I was doing all of it, सब कुछ बोल दिया है. College नहीं जाता था वगैरह वगैरह सब. So the first week was really difficult for me, but later on, as I got a little more settled in the place and tried to understand what they're actually doing there, is when I felt good about it, is when I felt really happy about the fact that that thing happened to me, that I was put in a rehab, and that I have a choice to change my life now. Okay, like they just set a normal daily routine for you. When you are in addiction, you don't have a routine, you don't have a life itself. Okay, you just have the substance, and that is the only life that you have. But here they actually teach you how to give importance to really small stuff like your soap or your clothes or stuff like that, which you never cared about. You never cared about your own self, and that is what they teach you. They make you go through a lot of things. They make you get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, make you go to sleep at 10 o'clock and stuff like that. So as it kept happening, I was still in a mindset that I was going to be there only for a month's time. But that is not what happened. I was there for 4 months and it all turned out to be really great because I took it positively. Okay, now I am not a person who actually gives myself credit for anything at all. But the very fact that I did take it positively is why I'm sitting here right now and having a conversation about this with you. Okay. The whole time I just tried and made myself better than what I was. Okay. मैं इतना अच्छा हो गया था उन लोग के साथ कि वो लोग मेरे को लिटरली अकेला बाहर भेजते थे out of the rehab. Okay, there have been people, मेरा रूममेट भागने का कोशिश किया है, ठीक है, फैन मैन में हाथ डाला है, ठीक है, because he was so frustrated and so craving for it that he wanted to run away. Okay, but मेरे साथ उल्टा था, मेरे को ये लोग बोलता था भाई जा घूम के आ, सिगरेट पीना पी के आ, उधर बीड़ी देते थे फूकने को, ठीक है, बट मेरे को बाहर जाके घूम फिर के आने को परमिशन देता था और मैं आ जाता था, जैसे पता है किधर जाएगा जा जाके, ठीक है. उन लोगों का ये भी हिसाब था कि तुम भाग जाओ ना, उसी रात को तुम वापस इधर लाए जाओगे, 4 जन घर पे बैठेगा, तुमको उठा के लेके आएगा, वो हिसाब था, तो कुछ मतलब नहीं था भागने का भी. So I took it really positively and it was all good. So but the main thing is where you have to prove your family that you've changed. Okay, you know that you've changed, you know that you're not going to do it again, but you need to prove it to them that you're not going to do it to them. So after the 4 months when I got out of the rehab and when I was at home, so मेरे को नीचे उतरने के लिए भी मेरे साथ मेरा माँ उतरता था नीचे, ठीक है. अगर सिगरेट पीने का रहेगा तो वो भी मैं घर पे लाके पीने वाली हरकत किया हूँ, and they permitted me to do that because they agreed to the fact that you need it. Okay, इतना हद तक मैं भी गिर गया था कि मतलब क्या अभी फूक देते हैं, अभी क्या है, कुछ ऑप्शन नहीं है, और फिर वो लोग भी वो चीज मान लिया कि चल सिगरेट है, चल फूकने दे, ठीक है, एक्सपेक्टिंग दैट बाद में जाके कम होएगा.
Alright, so now that you have been out of rehab for like a long time, do you ever think that you're going to get back to your old life, fall for the same things which you did back then?
I can't actually guarantee that for myself or for anyone because it is not a given fact. It is all about choices that we make and the actions that we put in after the thought process and all of it. मैं सोचेगा भले कि मेरे को नहीं करने गए, बट मेरे को समझेगा भी नहीं कि कब मैं वापस करने लग गया और वो ऐसा डेली बेसिस पे हो गया. वो 6 महीने का, 3 महीने का, 2 महीने का, हफ्ता और 2 दिन का गैप में मैं पीना चालू भी कर दूं. स्टार्टिंग ऑफ 6 महीने में एक बार पीता हूँ, से 2 दिन में एक बार पीता हूँ. I would not even realize. Only the people who are looking at me can know that fact. Because the brain works in that process, in that manner where I wouldn't understand the fact that it is happening to me. Because I am always going to be in a denial of me being an addict. I was back then, I was in between and I still am. I wouldn't want to accept something that is bad about me. It's as normal as that. And when it is happening to me, I'm obviously not going to accept that. So it's quite simple. It's all about the choices that people make. So while I got sober, okay, so while all this was happening, okay, there was this incident where before going to the rehab when I was using, there was this incident where my professor, my HOD, put me out of the college. He actually threw me out of the college saying that you're useless and you're like an asshole or whatever he said. Okay. But after I came back to college, after I resumed after that year's break, in a couple of days' time after I started sitting for lectures is when he comes to me and he tells me that whatever that I had for you is all gone. I have respect for you now and I'm really proud of you, of what you have done, and it's good to see you like this. And that is a very good feeling because that gives you a morale boost that you're doing something with this sober life of yours. You have changed and you are actually being different from what you were before. So things like these, very small things are which make a difference to you to keep yourself sober. So that.
Okay, so now that your life has changed and you're happy with the way you live, but how does it feel to meet the people and meet your family members and everyone you have loved? Back in the day, they did not look at you with respect. How does it feel when they look at you now? Does it feel quite similar to those days or?
No, obviously, like I said before, just like I have changed, they have changed themselves too. Like there are so many minute things about them too that have made a difference. When they see me upset about something, they are the ones who come and talk to me about, try and talk to me about it. They are the ones who take an initiative if I am falling back from my part or on something. Even if it's a family dinner or even if it's something, if I show less interest, they are the ones who actually take an initiative to try and make me do it, because they know they have supported me for all this while, because the things that they have gone through, now that I realize them, I wouldn't have taken care of my son. I probably would have, but then I wouldn't have. Okay, it's more like तुम किसी को जन्म देते हो और फिर वो तुम्हें इतना परेशान करता है, तुम्हारे पैसे की वाट लगाता है, तुम्हारा पीस मेंटल पीस का वाट लगाता है, तुम्हारा हेल्थ का वाट लगाता है. माय मॉम वाज सो स्ट्रेस्ड that even her health was declining because of the kind of behavior that I had. But it is all good now. They all look at me with the whole same, we love you eyes, and they have like this satisfactory face on them all the time when they look at me. They have changed, I have changed, it's all good. But it's more like where you have to understand that it's more of like sugar, where for a diabetic person it's injurious to health. He cannot have it. The same way addicts cannot use substances. If they do, they're going to land up in the hospital or a mental asylum or a police station or just dead. It's as simple as that. The day you accept it is the day when you're going to come out of it. It's as.